Alright, we should be live. We're back. We're working on Electro, Assaulting Battery. Here he is in case you need a reminder of how he works. And, excuse me, last time we went over all of the cards selected for him, which is 189 cards, and now we're going to have to start cutting things, so. Let's just go through the list to start with, see if there's anything obvious I want to cut. Things that I added super early that aren't going to hold up, and a few random things that probably don't need to be on here. Probably keeping all of these for right now. Spell Shock is questionable, but it's to stay for right this second. Citadel is probably fine. Well, Discovery. All of these are good so far. At least, like, from a cursory standpoint, obviously a bunch of them are going to have to go at some point in time. Livian Stone, Skull Clamp, Doubling Cube definitely stays. Mana Geyser probably stays. Sensei's Top. Rate of Fire is not going anywhere. Power, Pyrohemia, Magus of the Moon. Flamekin is fine. Javelin, of Stone. Stigma Lasher might be able to go. It's worse than Screaming Nemesis on multiple fronts. It is a double red permanent, though, like a 2-drop that will actually add 2 to my Devotion to Red for Clive and Ichthos, so. Perforos, it's less important. I actually prefer Perforos when he's an indestructible enchantment to being an indestructible creature, but can't really be helped. Burst Lightning, Spire Barrage. Searing Blaze might be able to go. Cough of the Hammer's fine. Tunnelingus is fine. Might wind up going. Galvanoth, it depends on how many instants and sorceries I'm actually going to have in the deck. Right now, they're one of the things that I want to be running because of our commander, and casting them for free gives me extra red mana on top of that, so not inclined to cut it just yet. Bonfire could go, but it's very efficient at what it does. Gutter Snipe could go, but it is a goblin, so it counts towards the other things as well. Mizium Mortars, Vandal Blast, Skullcrack. Skullcrack might not be necessary. I have a bunch of other cards that shut off life gain and damage prevention, but it's a way to get that effect going when it's not obviously on board at instant speed, so. Bogus should probably stay. Lightning Strike, that's true. I did not go back and add Incinerate, which should definitely be on the list ahead of Lightning Strike. So I guess that makes the list 190, not 189 then. And I do want to add it to the list, and then we can cut Lightning Strike later on if we need to. But Incinerate is just better Lightning Strike, so. It's 3 damage, but it also shuts off regeneration from the creature. Perforos stays for right now. Fire Dancer probably stays. I mean, I have a bunch of things that can damage the opponents, being able to hit their, small to medium creatures should be worth it. All the letters are out of order on that. There we go. Arc Bond might be able to go. Outpost Siege. Reveler is fine, but not essential. Yeah, Throne of the God Pharaoh can probably go. It's medium at best. Definitely wanting to have Eternal. I'm more likely to cut Death Horde Champion than I am to cut the Eternal version of him. War Boss, Runaway Steamkin are both fine. Crusher Giant. Drag Feet. Adds 8 mana and I can't cast more than one spell afterwards. Effectively. Because our commander will give us an extra red mana from it. So we go up 4 mana. Yeah, I probably don't need a straight up ritual effect with no other rider on it. Seems very medium. Warbrand stays for now. Nyx Lotus is fine. Tyrant, Royal Eruption, Vortex. Technically fine. Good Exploration. Burgie's good. Goldspan Dragon. Ogda, Torolf. Crackle's good. I can cut Intro to Annihilation, especially since I have the instant speed one on the list anyway. Either that, or I keep Intro to Annihilation and cut one of the, I cut the ones that can destroy target creature straight up, because then I have another way to exile a creature, and it can hit enchantments also. Maybe that's better. Maybe we leave Intro to Annihilation on the list for right now, but I seriously just consider cutting either Cindercloud, Fisher, or both, and just use these things, because they can exile the creature, but they can also exile enchantments, and that's kind of really helpful with a mono-red commander. Or not an insane amount of mana. Like, normally it's like 7 mana to kill any permanent, so being able to hit most of the important things for 5 mana on either of those cards. Obviously, the Avatar one is better if I'm not worried about hitting a Planeswalker or Battle, but having both of them is probably something I want to consider. Gatekeeper is medium, Chandra's fine, Sushi's fine, Bombardment, Stockpile, Facebreaker. I've got a lot of things that are fine and that are technically on point for the deck, so yeah, I don't have as many painfully obvious, I don't know what I was thinking putting this card on the list cards, so that's both good and bad since I need to make, 120 cuts, 130 cuts. It's actually 130 with the Incinerate, so Sulfin, what are you doing down here in Outlaws of Thunder Junction? How did that happen? Yeah, I'm very confused how that even happened. Oh well. Spire Lynx is fine. Needlehead, Screamy Boy, Mount on Lock, House Squad Heavy. Do I actually need the Steel Cutter? It's not terrible, but it's also not super helpful. I can only make one token per turn. It's not every two spells I cast. Yeah, I can see just getting rid of Steel Cutter, honestly. I also probably don't need Zell. He's neat and all, but unnecessary in scheme of things. Recruiter. Yeah, I think we leave Inferno Titan for right now. Okay, so we're almost through everything, and I think I need to focus the deck a little bit better because I'm not really cutting anything here. So debating on whether or not I need sort of Hearth and Home, but it does work fairly well with Electro. So I don't know how many other things I have that have comes into play abilities though. So might not need Dragon. Did I even bother? I don't have Swiftfoot boots, and I don't have um, Lightning Greaves, so I probably don't even bother with the Ancient Copper Dragon at that point. I'm not going to run it out and hope that it lives a turn cycle so I can attack with it. Sentient Furnace is fine. I might get rid of some of the non-basic land hate, honestly. Like, not the ones that ping the opponents or make the non-basic lands into mountains. Like our Blood Moons and Price of Progress are probably fine, but I don't think I need like Ruination or From the Ashes. Eyes stays for right now. Disrupt Decorum. Cool. Auto Generator. Deflecting SWAT. I even need Bitterthorn. Probably don't. So we're up to 7 cards cut. Always probably fine for right now. Treat. Sticker Goblin. Fiendish Duo. It's fine. Ember. shard. So we had what, 7 cards? If I copy this, it'll go up to 8. Yeah. So 7 cards off the list. I need to focus up a little more on the deck. It's kind of all over the place. I really wanted to just do one thing, so let's see. We can probably get rid of Fisher and um the other one, Cinder Cloud, since we have the 2 lessons that can get rid of anything problematic. Lightning, Blood Moon, Incinerate, Pyrokinesis, Fire Diamond, Fire Blast. Settlers is tempting because it represents a lot of land destruction all at once, but it tiny chance I would keep it if it were a goblin. Let's get rid of Ruination. Rather punish the opponents for having the lands than take the lands away from them, as it leads more towards what the deck is trying to accomplish. A Tectonic helps for shutting off counterspell decks and whatnot. It reduces reactionary abilities, but I think, like, I would rather have the Citadel and punish them for keeping untapped lands, so that way it's moving me towards victory. Price of Glory might be able to stay. The downside to Price of Glory is that it gives the opponents a way to sacrifice their lands to stop Price of Progress, because presumably it won't be their turn, so if they want to tap the land for mana instead, and while it is nice to make them voluntarily Armageddon themselves, it's less nice if they're living because of that and might still get to win the game, so yeah, you probably don't need that one either. The one that deals damage if they leave their lands untapped is fine, because then if they want to leave up counter magic, they have to take a bunch of damage every turn. That's actually moving the game towards my win condition, so. Stone, Doubling Cube, Mana Geyser. It's fine for right now. Top Braid of Fire. This can stay. Do I get rid of Pyrohemia? I have a handful of smaller creatures that die to it. Or I might not want to activate it. Like, it's fine if I have my commander out and I can just deal 2 damage per turn by spending 2 red mana and my commander lives, and then if I need the commander to die, I can just spend the 3 mana. But it's kind of terrible if I have a bunch of random 1, especially 1 toughness creatures, because then I can't activate it at all without having one of the gloves in play, boosting all of my things. I need to think about it, but I think there are too many 1 toughness creatures. Because Soulbright Flamekin is 1 toughness. The Fire Dancer Satyr is 1 toughness. All of my Goblin tokens. Yeah, I should just get rid of Pyrohemia. It's not going to be good in the deck. It conflicts with everything else I'm doing. I would have to cut most of my creature things in order to have Pyrohemia work properly, so. To work as intended for the deck anyway. Might as well just get rid of it. If I wind up cutting like all of those other things, I can come back and re-examine it, but time being, I don't think so. If Zozu didn't count me, I would think Zozu would be better than Tunnelingus because it just does 2 damage each time rather than 3 if they play an extra land, so it'll be damaging each player for playing lands at all. Then again, I like to fetch, and the Ingus does not deal damage to me regardless, so maybe that's still a bit of an issue if I can't use my fetch lands without taking 4 damage off of Zozu. Probably just cut Priest of Orabrask. If it were a goblin, I don't think I would cut it, but it's kind of medium with everything else I have going on. Alright, so obviously it works with Kiki Jiki. Do I even need Zealous Conscripts, though? I do have a couple ways to straight up sacrifice a creature for value, so I could keep Zealous Conscripts just for that. I might wind up cutting them, though. Skullcrack, Fanatic of Mogus, Lightning Strike, Urfros, Air Dancer. Yeah, I probably don't actually need Arc Bond. Can be really good, but it's not necessary. Bedlam Reveler, Chandra Torch of Defiance. Like I said, definitely want to keep that in a heb. Just too strong. Hmm. Magda can also search up artifacts. I was thinking about, like, do I get rid of, like, Goldspan Dragon, and if I do that, do I get rid of Magda? But then thinking about it, Magda can still um, get artifacts into play, so getting things like Nyx Lotus and Auto Generator would still technically work with her. Storm Kiln for right now. Okay, I'm back. Dolphin, Chandra, City on Fire. Brass still works with most of my things. Description. Back again. I actually need there and back again. It's really cool if we make Smog and then he dies and then we get 14 treasures, but I'm spending 5 mana to get a mountain. First of all, like stop a creature from blocking for a few turns. The ring tempting me isn't doing much. Yeah, I think there and back again is a little too low impact, even if Smog itself is really cool. So that's 10 cards. Look, a coin might be too low impact. Might be able to get rid of that one just because of that. Dang. Virtue. Do I just get rid of Schimmel? I can see that. Like, it's nice that it's giving me free spells and then the spells are giving me back mana and everything, but end of the day, I don't really need it. Needlehead, Puck, Squad Heavy, 5. I do like Regalia more than Bitterthorn, because it doesn't have to deal the damage, it just has to attack. Suppose we keep that for now. Carnage, Molten Man. I could see cutting the Molten Man only because he's just a big dumb creature, like no evasion whatsoever. So even though I get to go get a mountain out of my deck, yeah, we probably. Imperial Imperial Recruiter tutors for too many of my things. And because of the matron, it can also tutor the matron to tutor my slightly bigger goblins, like Mob Boss. So it rebates me all of the mana I need to cast it. Then I get my top 7 cards to play this turn. I probably don't need it though. It's okay. Not actually amazing in the deck. Vision, Fire Emancipation, Bolt Wave. Maybe I don't need the 7 mana Chandra. Most of my things I don't need a token copy of, if it's a +1 from her to do that. It's good with things like the Inferno Titan and the Sunspire links, whatnot. It's less impressive on a lot of my other creatures. Yeah, I can see cutting this Chandra. Like the Chandras, all of the other Chandras on the list, I like them better. So, see cutting that one. I do have a handful of really good blink targets for Sword of Hearth and Home, and it gives me another land. And I can always do the thing where I blink my commander, so that way I can spend enough mana to kill somebody and then have them come back in, and then I don't lose the mana that's still floating. Like, I don't have to spend all of it, I don't lose any of it. I still get to kill one of the players at the table. It might wind up going eventually just because it's not good enough, but time being, I think we leave it on the list. I do like Commander's Plate for making Electro into more of a threat. That way, and it makes him nearly impossible to block. Only colorless cards and mono red cards can block him at that point. Yeah, I think I leave the Commander's Plate for right now. Still want to send. Probably still want Jessica's Will, even though I'm not. Jessica's Will is one of those cards that a lot of other people really like that I am just medium on. Like, it will come up from time to time. Do I lose Coveted Jewel? So the upsides to Coveted Jewel are I get to draw 3 cards. It taps for 3 mana, so I can keep floating 3 red every turn that I keep it. The downside is that if an opponent can get through, they can steal it. Get to draw some cards, and even if I tap it for mana, they get it back untapped. So, all of that. But then I can potentially steal it back. The biggest thing about it is that if it's dangerous for them to attack because my commander might block and die and deal a ton of damage, then they can't come over and steal the Coveted Jewel anyway. So, yeah, I think we get rid of Coveted. We have other card draw in the deck. We don't necessarily need it, so it's up to 15 cuts. For right. We'll check what. Still at 15. Okay. Alright, so we knock another 15 off of the list. 68. Goes off. Alright, so what do we do for our first sub list? Do we do things that increase my mana production? Do we do our burn spells first? I guess let's do the increased mana production first, because our commander really cares about having access to more mana, so then we can do a burn spell checklist. Fire Diamond. I'm going to count the Ruby Medallion for this because it gives us extra mana by making our spells cost less, and since we can float mana in between turns, any amount of mana that we don't spend is more mana floating. So it is fulfilling that particular effect. Fifth Citadel, Well of Discovery, no. Phyrexian Altar is in here to add mana, but it's also in here as a sacrifice outlet for our commander. And I also didn't... Oh no, we haven't gotten to Onslaught yet for the Goblin. I guess I consider them for the time being, and if I feel like they don't really belong on the list, I can get rid of them. Brightstone Ritual, yes. Mana Echoes and Skirk Prospector, yes. Extra Planar Lens. Ball Clamp, Doubling Cube, yes. Mana Geyser, yes. So both of them. Peaky, no. Rate of Fire, yes. Gauntlet, yes. Aegis. Soulbright Flamekin is in here to make extra mana. To 11. Koth, yes. Sort of Feast and Famine, yeah, kind of. I'm being honest. Like, I put it in here because it untaps all of my land, so it's definitely in here because it gives me access to more mana. Battle Hymn, yes. Up to 14. No. Fire Dancer, no. Siege, no. Torch of Defiance can be in for this. So, kind of. Neheb is in here because he gives me extra mana. 16. Flamekin is 17. Neheb can give me extra mana. It's 18. Lotus is 19. Leyline Tyrant doesn't actually give me extra mana, so doesn't get to make it. Skyclave Relic, yes. We're up to 20 now. All three of these, yes. It's 21. This is 22. Alright, that's 23, so come back to Neon Dynasty after this. I don't have Soul Ring on this list, but I feel like the Soul Ring is not on here because these are all things that are helping our commander get more mana. The only thing is that then Mana Echoes doesn't count, but if I'm not going to somehow use Mana Echoes here to get extra mana, then it shouldn't be in the deck anyway. Which does make me wonder if I don't want the like some kind of filtering option to turn that into red mana. Back up to Neon Dynasty. Atsushi can make treasures, but that's not the only reason it's on the list. And it's not on here specifically to make treasures, it's on here because if it dies, I get to make treasures if I want to. Maybe not Atsushi. Fable does with the Goblin token. I think I quite count it. Facebreaker makes treasures. Glittering Stockpile is a treasure. Phyrexia does give me the Power Stones for my commander, but that's kind of secondary. Chandra makes mana. Rask makes mana. Inscription, no. Flick coin, not quite. It does make a treasure, but that is to offset the cost of it more so than going up mana for having played it in the first place. Similarly, I don't think I count Bonehorde Dracosaur, even though it can make treasure. Bandits Hall and Rodeo Pyromancers are in here because they make mana. Bandits Hall does other stuff. Inspire Net. Swad Heavy is in here because he makes mana equal the number of goblins I have. Five eventually goes up mana over the course of 2 turns. He adds 8 red. It costs 6 to flip him. Sorry if the vacuum cleaner in the background gets picked up. Really be helped. Don't think I consider Clive. He's close though. Like one of his things is that he is rebating me all of the mana eventually, but Regalia is definitely in here to get more lands though. Maximum Carnage lets me go up mana. It only rebates me most of the mana required to cast it though. It's more in here to be a damaging effect. Definitely consider Roku. Not redirect. Zuko and Comet, yes. Scan Lotus Tile, yes. Jumpstart Roku, yes. Goggles, yes. 11. Awakened Inferno doesn't give me extra mana, so no. Nope. Hans, Fury, Ragavan, yes. Sword of Hearth and Home, yes. It's 12. Do I count Ashling? I don't think so, only because I'm probably not going up mana from her ability. It's going to be more that I manage to get a rebate on mana, most likely. That's how she's going to work. It is really nice that I get that rebate on mana. I might wind up cutting her, though, because a little underwhelming. Star Slice, Pinnacle. Just because Will can make mana. Ascendant Furnace is partially on here for its ability to make mana. 14. 16. Yep. Anything on the sub list. So obviously I have too much down here. This is over a third of the deck, so got a bunch of things. Alright, because there's the two different versions of. Like, wait a minute, did I accidentally do the same thing twice? But no, it's the two different versions of. Start one. Wait. Let's go ahead and ban this view bot over here. Alright, we're just coming up on where I usually end, but I'm thinking. What was I thinking? I got distracted by banning the view bot. There's one card on here in particular that. Oh, Rodeo Pyromancers I probably don't need. Over time, they do decent work, but they're a 4-drop, so I'm going to need to cast. I need to generate mana with them twice. It is each turn, though, so if I cast a spell on the opponent's turn, maybe I don't get rid of them then. Because if I can cast instants, on each player's turn and get 2 red mana, because a lot of my instants are like 1 to 2 mana for a bunch of the burn spells, so we would actually, with our commander and the Rodeo Pyromancers, go up mana. I have to think about that one. I was going to just cut them, but maybe not. Alright, so we're past the 50-minute mark, so I think I call it there for right now. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.